Hello everybody, I welcome you to today's webinar. I'd like to present you the Airlock Gateway 8.1 in the first part, and in the second part, Airlock Micro Gateway 4.1. My name is Stefan Dietiker and I'm the product manager. First of all, a small agenda about the topics of Airlock Gateway. I'd like to say a few words about Airlock Anomaly Shield, GraphQL, new feature we introduced with 8.1, HSM support, REST API extensions, and a few other things. Anomaly Shield exists since Gateway AS7.5, and with 7.6 it's available as expert settings only for innovation customers. Since 8.0 it is in the configuration center available for all our customers. Now which challenges we are facing is the sessionless bot detection. So some bots ignore session cookies and they never return it, or some applications don't need session handling, even don't work with session handling enabled. Now with the version 8.1, we can also detect bots based on IP addresses and not only based on session cookies. As mentioned previously, we aggregated the requests based on the session ID, and now we can do that also based on the IP address. Therefore, we can detect more bots than previously. In our production, with session handling, so with cookie based only, we detect about 60 to 70% of the bots. And with IP aggregation on top of that, we can detect even more bots, so additional 25 to 30% of bots, and can block successfully these kind of requests. The feature itself is available in the configuration center. You can enable it in Anomaly Shield rule and choose the behavior you want to have. So whether it should only be locked or tagged as anomaly, or block the IP address. Another improvement we made is with long-living sessions. We do have a lot of requests in these sessions. So if we aggregate based on IP addresses, that would be the same. And that could lead to performance issues if there are too many requests in the same session. For that, we made a simple solution. So if a session has more than 1,000 requests, we just delete the oldest 200s. So only 800 remain. And for machine learning, for our algorithm, that's enough data we have within the same session, so we can just get rid of this 200 requests and provide still same functionality. We also added a new model, the query parameter model. So we track in a session how many different values has a certain parameter. So in this example, it is the parameter with the name template. And usually when normal users browse this web application, it only has a certain amount of different kind of values. But if a scanner is probing or scraping your website, those values might be more different. You do have a higher count here. And you can use that in the Anomaly Shield configuration as a trigger, and if that happens, you can block this kind of bots. That's about the improvement we made in Anomaly Shield, and now I'd like to move on with GraphQL. I don't know whether all of you are familiar with GraphQL or not. GraphQL is a query language for APIs and the runtime for fulfilling those queries with your existing data. As an example, we do see on the left side, on the top, the query made in GraphQL, and in the bottom, we do see the response. So what we see is the client controls the data he gets. The client gets nothing more and nothing less. Therefore, GraphQL requests are more complex than REST. GraphQL introduces additional attack vectors like introspection, and mutating is also possible. And it could lead to resource consumption, so high resource consumption. This is why limits are also required to protect your backend. And we made that available, so you can upload the schema for your GraphQL API, and you can then select different settings, so whether you want to allow or disallow mutation and introspection, whether you want to apply deny rules as well. And we do have also the functionality for limits, so you can limit the requests, so what is possible to ensure that your backend is not running out of resources. And last but not least, the blocks made by GraphQL filtering are also shown in our reporting bundle, so you can drill down also in the logs and investigate if something has been blocked. Another major improvement is the hardware security module, so where you can store private keys on a hardware device in a secure way. So with Airlock Gateway 8.1, we do support Thales Luna and Entrust and Cipher Connect. With Gateway 8.0, Thales Luna support was broken because with the OS upgrade, we were moving towards to OpenSSL version 3, and there was an incompatibility. And in version 8.0, Entrust and Shield Connect has used the legacy Chill engine, and now it uses the PKCS 11 standard. We also made some improvement in the REST endpoints to simplify for you to automate the configuration of the gateway. And also we are updating the REST API library. I don't know whether you are familiar with that. It is a good starting point to create your scripts using our library and automate your administrative tasks you have. We improve our solution with the feedback we get from the bug bounty program we ran, and yeah, that's also one of the parts in 8.1. Some customers requested that it should be possible to add additional information in the summary log message. Things like request headers, response headers, request cookies, JWT claims, rewrite variables are now possible by using an expert setting shown here to add this kind of information in the summary log message. We also introduced new variables with SSL session ID, protocol, cipher, client SDN, which you can use then as rewrite variable. This means your log message, the summary log message, has now a new key, custom, and with this expert setting, you can control what value is logged in this custom log field. So you can use these settings to log additional request headers or response headers or a certain cookie you want to have. We assume that this will simplify your reports you might have. We also made available an additional saved search for integration, which simplifies for you to drill down what headers has been removed or which cookies have been removed. With version 8.1, it is not possible anymore to downgrade from a minor version to the previous version. So if you install 8.1, you cannot downgrade anymore to 8.0. The reason for that is that the operating system underneath does not support that. It makes it nearly impossible for us. We just switched with version 8.0, the operating system, and this is unfortunately not possible anymore. Besides that, the logs are deleted anyway, and we assume that nowadays with VM snapshots and the feature system backup, a rollback is much simpler. As a side note, downgrading from major versions has never been possible before, so now for minor versions is also not possible, but it is still possible to uninstall hotfixes we provide. So don't worry, if we publish a hotfix, you can still uninstall it if it does not work in your environment. So as a suggestion, create a snapshot if it's a VM to have an easy way to roll back, or use the system backup feature we have in the menu user. Feature tracking sessions based on a header is available for quite some time. The settings, if you were using it, the setting above, they are discontinued. So use instead the ones underneath. The feature itself is still available, but you need to configure other settings. So if you look in your configuration, whether you were using this kind of settings, update your configurations to the settings underneath. So that's about the Airlock Gateway release, which is already available. I look now into the chat whether you do have some questions. If not, I will continue with Airlock Micro Gateway. Otherwise, we still have time at the end to have questions.